And now from ABC2, Maryland's most accurate forecast.
All right, it's been a night of soaking rains and fairly mild temperatures in the 40s, and it almost makes you feel like, can there really be a winter storm pushing in, especially now that we're in March? And the reality is yes. In fact, 4 of Maryland's top 20 snowstorms have come in the month of March. It can happen. All right, big picture. Maryland's most powerful radar. All rain in central Maryland. Snow already crossing over the Cumberland Gap here, pushing toward the 68-70 split here west of Hagerstown, and it's only going to continue to sink steadily in our direction. You see the widespread snows from Pittsburgh to Morgantown, and even more fairly heavy snows. In fact, some record-breaking snows going on in places like Kentucky tonight, even down into western Tennessee. So this is a potent late-season winter system. It's warm across the state right now, relatively speaking, and wet. 41 in Baltimore, 42 at the beach. But you see that sub-freezing air edging in toward Morgantown, West Virginia, and the western edge of our state. And we've got temperatures now at 12 and even 1 above toward Minneapolis. This is the Arctic air wedge that will push in along with the moisture as we push toward daybreak tomorrow. It's still got a few more hours of rain around the central part of the state, but ultimately things change. And you can see it's going to be a fairly narrow impacted area for the East Coast. I mean, it comes from Lexington right across through West Virginia, centers right across Maryland, and does reach up into southern New Jersey toward New York. But we're kind of right in that center stripe of what we think will be the highest accumulating snows. And realize this is going to start off as sleet past midnight and just slushy wet snow initially. It's not going to stick at all initially, but temps drop into the 20s through the day tomorrow, and then it will stick. We'll have a little bit of a March sundown going on, but it's still the early part of the month, and with the kind of snowfall rates we should be seeing, could be 1 to 2 inches per hour at times, especially on those grassy surfaces. We still think 6 to 9 inches is a good bet. It's going to be a narrow, heavy band. It's tough to say exactly where the band will line up. Could be, 20, 30 miles north or south of these lines we have, but generally, as you go south and east of Annapolis, we think tapering 4 to 6, then 2 to 4 toward the beaches. There may also be a bit of a dry slot or a lower accumulation west of Frederick. Hey, the fog and rain was the deal all day today. That snow kind of melting in the higher humidity. Now the fog beginning to die off a little bit. Rain still coming down here in the city. 41 at the airport now. We've got to fall another 9 degrees to get down to that critical freeze mark of 32. And that will take several more hours to happen again toward daybreak. In fact, if you're south and east of Baltimore, you may wake up to cold rain with some wet snow mixed in. But it steadily changes over through the day as that cold air continues to invade. In fact, Oakland, Maryland now down to 28. Right now we're still up 5 to 10 degrees from this time last night. We're dealing with a freezing rainstorm. Now we're poised for that snowstorm. There's some fog out there, reduced visibilities, and again, there's that wide swath of snow out to the west. Big picture-wise, you see that cold air is what's creating that changeover effect, and it is an intense area of low pressure. We'll continue to ride along that frontal boundary and keep the precip coming. Ultimately, there's going to be, again, that very heavy band. Briefly could get into those 1 to 2 inch per hour snowfall rates, and hey, a brief clap of thunder is not out of the question in one of those very heavy snow bands. So here it is for you. Sum it up. Tonight, down eventually to 30 toward early morning tomorrow. And then we're talking wet, heavy snow early on, winter storm warning conditions through the day as we fall through the 20s. Then everything freezes over tomorrow night down to 12. All that slush, all that mess is going to freeze up and stay frozen on Friday as we're only into the 20s. This weekend, some clear weather for you. In fact, it looks like we turn milder early next week. Keeping our fingers crossed for that. We'll be back.